Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Pearlie Brewer and I will be your host. Today's podcast guest is Laragh Dooley. Laragh is the Executive Director, Corporate Communication and Business Transformation at WorkSafeNB. Really nice title. Love your title. Welcome, Laragh. Laragh and I go way back. I worked during my time at WorkSafeNB, so someone I've seen and met and worked with quite a bit before, especially when it comes to conferences. So health and safety conferences are not new to you at all.
They are not, and thank you so much, Pearlie, for having me here today. I'm excited to have an opportunity to talk about the upcoming conference.
Yeah, it's a pretty busy time for health and safety in our province. I just came back from the Health and Safety Conference sponsored by Safety Services. I was in Nova Scotia last weekend, and I guess the thing that sort of really hit me when I was down there, that in addition to the speakers and the sessions that are always, of course, very good, it's a networking opportunity. And, I think we all probably missed that when COVID was there and we couldn't get together with our comrades and people that we work with. And I guess sort of Nova Scotia brought back, it's a nice opportunity when you work in a field like health and safety and you have a conference. You get to meet all the folks that you haven't seen for a while, and you get to get caught up and find out what everybody's up to. We also have Day of Mourning coming up on April the 28th. May the 1st to 5th is Health and Safety Week in Canada, and so that's going to be a busy time. And of course, May 10th to 12th is a Health and Safety Conference, WorkSafes. I guess a big question I have to ask you, Laragh, is why the spring this year rather than the fall? We're so much known for traditionally the fall Health and Safety Conference.
Yes, so we have had a fall conference for many, many years, and this year we opted to move it to the spring. I think it's going to be a one and done spring event, but essentially going back to what you were saying about people just really missing the opportunity to connect in person, and we just didn't want to wait any longer. Mm-hmm. So when the planning started 6-7 months ago, we said, how quickly can we get this conference off the ground, and opted for a spring conference this year to not make our stakeholders and the community in New Brunswick, safety professionals, wait an additional 6 months before having the opportunity to get together. I do anticipate that following this conference, we will get back on a fall schedule for the next one. But certainly it just really was an eagerness to bring the conference back and to get the planning underway.
So what did you do during COVID? Did you pretty much cancel your conferences during COVID?
We had first year we did have some cancellations. But then we did have a virtual event during the COVID period where we had great speakers, a day-long event where we had folks be able to log on and to take in different workshops or sessions. It was really well received because at that time, that's what we had to offer. People were looking for some education and sessions, but certainly the feedback was loud and clear that if the opportunity comes to bring people back in person, this community really wanted an in-person event again. So there are some events like our Day of Mourning that we are opting to keep virtual because we've been able to bring more people into the fold and have more people participate, hear speakers in that realm. But when it comes to the Health and Safety Conference, this is our premier event, and folks certainly wanted to see each other, to hug each other, to connect in person.
So how many years have you been doing your conference?
So we have been hosting a conference at WorkSafe New Brunswick for 41 years. This is our 41st Health and Safety Conference, and I think that is something really to be proud of.
Oh, it sure is. And as you say, it's sort of one of those annual events on your calendar that people automatically put on their calendar and look forward to every year. So what can folks look forward to this year? Opening night, reception?
Yeah, so
take us through your conference.
I'll take you through the event. So we are really excited this year about our sessions, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, content is king, right? We want to make sure that we have really wonderful workshops, great speakers, topics that are interesting. And over those 41 years, those topics have evolved considerably. Even 10 years ago, our health and safety conference was mostly very technical types of workshops. Mm-hmm. And we still have those. There's no doubt we still have technical workshops available for health and safety professionals. But the safety environment and the safety professionals, it has evolved so much in the last 10 years. Today, safety leadership and just good leadership go hand in hand. And we've noticed that our delegates are changing in the sense that we still get those safety professionals, but we're also getting folks that are just want to ensure that their companies have a really strong safety culture and are looking to come for some of those more broader sessions. And so we've got some appeal in our sessions for those folks as well. Hayley Wickenheiser.
Big name.
Big name. Yeah, we are really, really excited about Hayley coming and being able to speak about it's bucket is her session. So if you haven't heard me right, it's bucket with a B on the other end of the microphone there. But it's all about bucking the status quo and about having the courage to try something new. And I think that really applies to safety culture as well, right? And having to push the boundaries and making sure that we're constantly evolving. And then the other big speaker that we're really excited about, who's going to kick off the conference, his name is Spencer Beach. And he has a very personal story that I think will resonate with our delegates. And he was burned a 3rd degree and 4th degree burns over the majority of his body in a fire, workplace accident. And his story is just about overcoming difficulties, resilience, certainly with a very focused safety message. But I think he's going to bring that personal aspect to the conference and to remind us why working safely is so important.
Now, Hayley Wickenheiser, why or how did she end up on your list of potential speakers? What really attracted you to her?
So Hayley has, I guess, a storied history here in Canada, right?
Sure
and
does.
So we want to make sure that we're bringing in speakers that are going to resonate with the audience. And when we're looking at those sessions, the opening session, the closing session, we want to make sure that there's appeal for those folks that are there for the technical, elements, but also those that are there for the leadership elements. And I can't think of, someone who's demonstrated more leadership abilities than someone like Hayley Wickenheiser, who has led, the Canadian women's team to gold at the Olympics. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but certainly has a strong affiliation with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So there'll be strong opinions, about that. But Hayley just has a remarkable story and is going to apply that story to regular workplaces and how that has a connection to safety and how that has a connection to, as I said, kind of bucking what's expected and speaking up when necessary, and how does that apply to creating a safety culture.
I was talking to my son the other day, who's also involved in hockey, and I mentioned her name, and I asked how well he knew Hayley, and he worked with her in Hockey Canada. He and her both worked there at the same time, and he was also with her he was there, and now she's still there with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So she worked, he worked with her during the time at the Maple Leafs, and terrific lady. He said she's going to tell a fantastic story, be a great speaker.
Oh, I'm excited, and I think everybody will really enjoy it. We haven't announced this yet, but we are going to encourage everybody to wear jerseys on that day, and so I think that'll be a lot of fun to have. We'll see how many Toronto Maple Leaf jerseys show up at the Fredericton Convention Centre. I, for one, will be rocking Montreal Canadiens. So
I actually have 3 Maple Leaf jerseys in my closet, and I'm a Montreal fan. Take that.
Okay.
When my son was with the Leafs, they always had a father-son trip. And when you went on the father-son trip, they always gave you a jersey. So, of course, when he was with Toronto for 5 years, each year they would give you a jersey. And as a Montreal fan, I had to wear the Maple Leaf jersey, not happily, but I used to wear it. So she's going to be great.
Yeah.
Other speakers, you have a pretty good balance. I went through your program. What topics, any topics in particular, any speakers stand out as far as your main concurrent sessions?
Absolutely. So we have 29 sessions in addition to the 2 plenaries. So they all stand out, but they all have a uniqueness to them. So some of the ones that I'm most excited about certainly are the ones about legislation. So we are having a session. There's been a ton of safety legislation that has changed in New Brunswick in the past few years. And we know it's challenging to keep up. If you're an employer, a small employer, or a worker, or someone responsible for ensuring that your company is up to date on all the safety legislation and regulations, this session will really help you be able to go back and package that and truly understand what has changed. And we've had things change from fishing legislation, that's been a long time coming. So now fishing vessels being a place of employment, to updating our safety standards under the general regulation, to pursuing benefit improvements for injured workers. So just a variety of legislative change. And I think that session in 90 minutes will pare it down so that folks can truly understand what's new and how does that impact their workplace and what is it that they need to do to stay up to date. The other sessions that stand out for me, and there are many. I love the name, Am I a Jerk at Work? Combating Implicit Bias. So that one, I think the speaker I know has come very highly recommended. And I think just being able to have conversations about bias at work in today's environment is so important. We want to make sure that we all bring our bias and how that impacts our work environment, and can we recognize it, and what do we do about it, and how do we check that and make sure that that we're showing up in a way that's fair to ourselves and to our colleagues is really exciting for me. And then of course I'm looking forward to the Getting Back as part of Getting Better. So that tagline is a campaign that we're running at WorkSafe New Brunswick, and it's all about return to work. So after a workplace injury, what can you expect? Why is getting back part of getting better? And being able to navigate that system. So if you are an employer or a worker who's been curious about what happens post workplace injury and how you're supported in New Brunswick, I think this would be a great session for you.
So you have a lot of good topics, a lot of good speakers, some local, some I see from out of province.
Yeah, we really try and leverage the talent that we have within our province, and certainly within WorkSafe New Brunswick. I have, many wonderful colleagues who are very, very competent in the health and safety industry and topics. But there are definitely some sessions where we have been fortunate to bring in speakers from out of province who have this particular niche expertise. Lisa Belanger is one who's going to be talking about quiet quitting, for example. So that's something I think a tagline or phrase that we've heard used and thrown around during post, pandemic. Yep. And that really means that instead of leaning into your work, people are leaning back, and they aren't actually giving you their notice, but they are essentially quitting in the sense that about their engagement and impacting the culture. And so I think that's going to be a really interesting topic from Dr. Lisa Belanger for us to understand how folks get to that place and what we can do to bring them back, because engagement and safety culture go hand in hand.
Yeah. It's interesting, you mentioned a moment ago how the range of speakers and topics have changed over the years. Last week when I was in Halifax, I was in the exhibitor area, and I was talking to one of the exhibitors, and the exhibitor made this comment to me. They said, look around the room here. Even the type of exhibitor has changed over the years, from the heavy industrial type exhibitor, maybe showing off their newest hard hats or the fall protection equipment and so on. But there's more of, I guess you could say, the more modern topics, speakers, equipment. At the show the other day, there were 3 booths involving sleeping and the importance of getting sleep if you're doing shift work. Threads for life, a lot of sort of other topics, not just the traditional sort of industrial type topics that you might been used to in the past. Safety awards. You have a section or a component of safety awards. Want to tell us about that?
I'd love to. So the safety awards are an annual part of the Health and Safety Conference, and it's an opportunity for us to celebrate and recognize folks that are doing outstanding work in the safety community here in New Brunswick. And so we have a panel of folks who look at those who have been nominated, and we look at a variety of elements. So individuals, who is out there championing health and safety in their workplace or in their community? An individual who's really stood up to make safety part of their everyday being and bringing that message forward. We also look at employers. Who's doing something unusual or unique or going that extra mile and are seeing results? That they are having good safety results in their workplace, and what are they doing that's unique, and how do we celebrate that, but also share that story with all of our delegates. So there are going to be multiple awards handed out. We got quite a few nominations, and so the panel, it was a tough job to kind of pick those who really are going to take home, I guess, the top award. But it's an opportunity for us to celebrate and recognize those who are really doing outstanding work. And I think that's something we need to do more of.
We do. And
putting those folks up on a pedestal, because safety is challenging, because you're looking at what didn't happen, right? And so we don't often give that enough attention. But without these voices, I don't think we would have the same, environment in New Brunswick. It really takes a village, and some of these are kind of the shining stars in the province.
Yeah. Sometimes, when you get into a conversation on safety awards, you'll get people that are a little pessimistic towards them, but I've always been a big believer you have to acknowledge the good performers and the companies and individuals that are going above and beyond. And I think to come from you folks, the arbiters of health and safety, so to speak, it's certainly it's a good achievement award. Very good. What about exhibitors? What do you have for exhibitors this year? How many? Any idea?
Well, we're targeting about 30 exhibitors, so that's about the capacity that we can handle. And I think, as you were mentioning earlier, well, hopefully we're going to have a wide variety. Those who are there with equipment and kind of bringing those, the technical or the heavy lifting materials, but also, I don't know if we have someone who's an expert on sleep, but certainly it's those types of aspects that resonate today. We see that accidents are different than they were, injuries are different than they were 10, 20 years ago.
Yep.
And so we want to make sure that our exhibitors line up with the environment in 2023. So about 30 exhibitors would be our target.
Now, Fredericton Convention Center, great facility for conference. You're back there again this year. What do you like about the Fredericton Convention Center?
We love hosting the conference in Fredericton and at the convention center. The facility state of the art. So it's spacious, it's bright, it allows for space in the workshop rooms, especially important in today's world post-COVID. But just wanting to make sure that people have the space that they need. It also allows us to host a ton of people at our conference. They have capacity for upwards of 500 folks to be there, and certainly that's what we're targeting. We want to make sure that the conference is full, and that we're able to have many of these sessions running in tandem, lots of rooms. It's all in close proximity. It's very convenient for our delegates. There are hotels surrounding the convention center, and it's right downtown. Yeah. So networking is such an important part of our health and safety conference, whether that's during the day at the sessions, engaging with those who are in the workshops with you. But I also know that many people are traveling and they want to connect with folks they haven't had a chance to see, and that may be over dinner, or that may be over a beer in the evening. And that facility and being downtown Fredericton certainly allows for those conversations to take place.
Now, I'm sure you'll have people listening that'll say, well, why not Moncton? We used to go to Moncton every now and then. We used to go to St. John every now and then. I think probably maybe something they don't realize is the facility challenges. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Absolutely. We would love to be able to move the conference around the province and to be able to, ensure every city has the opportunity to participate in the health and safety conference. And certainly it makes it easier for those that, live local to not have to travel and stay in a hotel. But it really comes down to the growth of our health and safety conference, which is a great thing. We have simply outgrown some of the facilities in the other cities where it was becoming really challenging and really making us limit the number of workshops or sessions that we could host simply because of space. Okay. And we also were having workshops that were selling out very quickly. So, if we've got 50 seats in this particular room, that session, would fill up very, very quickly. And so the convention center just allows a bit more flexibility as far as space in each of the workshops and the ability to host more workshops at the same time. So,
do you have any sense of how many delegates you'd like to have this year?
We are hoping to max out around that 500, 550 number. That's our goal. Registration just opened 2 weeks ago. It's off to a really good start. We did see quite an uptake in registration last week. So we hope that our session is full and that our conference, sells out and that all the sessions are full, and that people are able to connect with 500 plus delegates.
So what's the easiest way to register for the conference?
The easiest way to register is simply online, WorkSafeNB.ca. Front page, there's a big banner there. Click through. You can take a good read through of each of the sessions, who the speakers are. All of the information there is available online, and so please just go online and register. There is an early bird discount as well.
Is there a deadline for the early bird?
The deadline for the early bird registration will be the Tuesday after Easter, so I believe it's April 12th.
Okay, then, great. Well, look, thank you very much. I certainly look forward to the conference. It's a great event. And you certainly have some terrific speakers lined up. Spencer Beach, Hayley Wickenheiser. I went through your program, and as you say, you've done a great job mixing topics, mixing speakers. And that's really important to be able, as I say, to offer something for everyone. So thank you very much for coming in. Look forward. I'm sure we'll see you at the conference. A lot of people don't realize all the planning that goes into it. Maybe one final comment. How long is it taking you to plan the conference, and what all is involved?
Thank you, Pearlie. Very much looking forward to seeing you at the conference as well. And an event like this just doesn't happen without hours and hours of manpower behind the scenes. And so we've got an amazing planning committee who really have been the ones doing the heavy lifting. They've been the ones working with the venue and also securing the speakers and coming up with the sessions. And the kudos really goes out to that planning committee. It's been a tremendous amount of work, but I do believe that it's well worth it when you get to see 500 delegates together talking about health and safety and bringing that back to their workplaces in New Brunswick.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Laragh. Again, we hope everyone will take advantage of this opportunity to attend the conference. Again, it's here in Fredericton. The date of it is May 10th to 12th. Again, early bird until next Monday. That's or next Tuesday after Easter. And if you would like to make a comment on our podcast at ssnb.ca, we'd like to hear from you. If you have any ideas for speakers, if you have any feedback for our podcast folks, we'd certainly like to hear from you. Stay safe. See you soon.
Thank you, Pearlie.